right, here we go again. Let's go part 3 here. We go lights out here in a second. All right, so this dude trying to find. He tells me he calls this guy. He calls the sergeant after the deputy leaves the next morning, and requests another police officer. Nobody comes. They said they were going to send somebody over. Nobody comes. After about an hour, this dude tells me he tries calling multiple units. So I guess he tries calling the state troopers. He tries calling the sheriff's department. He tries calling sheriff's department from a couple houses over or a couple towns over. Every single time he gets routed to a not in service number or fast busy. Like every time he tries to call one of these numbers, it seems like his call is getting routed, or at least that's what he's saying to me. And I'm like, dude, so you're trying to call the police and you can't get a hold of an actual police officer. He's like, no, dude, I've tried for an hour and every time my shit got rerouted. The dude tells me he gets to the point where he actually calls his landlord. And he's like, dude, the landlord's mad cool. This guy, he said was really, really cool. Like from the day he moved, like from the day he talked to him the first time all the way up until this particular day. He was super, super kind, helpful, and just no problems. Absolutely nothing. He said when he called this guy and told him his house was broken into, the guy's demeanor completely changed. Went from like Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. Like the guy was annoyed that his tenant had his house broken into. Like he was telling me like it was like a system shock. Because he's like, he thought the one guy who'd be able to help him out here also didn't give a shit. So now this dude's family and his landlord and the police all don't give a shit that this kid's house got broken into. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, dude, I don't know. He's like, listen to this shit. He's like, so this guy, this landlord guy, says, oh, I tried calling, I can't get through to anybody. Maybe you should just try calling the sheriffs. And the dude's like, dude, I told you I tried calling the sheriffs and the troopers a million times. I can't get through. That's why I'm asking you to do it. He's like, well, I can't get through either. I don't know what to tell you. So this poor kid is like, what the fuck, man? Like, my house got broken into. I'm getting fucked with. There are no real police officers anywhere. All right, I'm going to have to drive out of the jurisdiction, I guess, and try to find somebody who can help me. So this poor kid gets in his car and drives over to the trooper barracks, which is kind of like a town over. He says he goes to the front of the barracks and uses the buzzer, and he gets dispatch, which unfortunately is like a universal thing. So this poor kid gets the dispatch and talks to the same idiot chick that was rerouting his calls purposely. So he's like, oh my God. He's like, dude, you got to be kidding me. And she's like, yeah, there'll be an officer there in a few minutes or whatever. So he waits. I guess he waits he says 20 minutes after she said they'd be there in 3 minutes or something. And he's like, fuck, nobody's coming here either. Let's drive to the nearest city. So he drives all the way to Saratoga. It's like a 45-minute drive from where he was at. He has I guess he sees a real officer on the street who lets him into the building. He goes to the front desk, and from what he tells me, he's like, yeah, I was originally talking to a real cop. I almost knew it. And he tells him, kind of relays the story of what I just said. And he goes, the real cop said, okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get somebody who can help you. And he goes to the back. He goes to the back and gets another guy. And this poor kid's like, dude, the guy they sent out was not a cop. He was 100% an actor. He looked like a douchebag. All right. The poor kid literally asked him at first. He goes, "Are you a real cop?" This is what the kid said. The cop responded. He said the cop looked at him, looked down at his fake badge, and said, "I look like a real cop." That's what he said. Anyway, this poor kid just fucking went through the fucking shitter again, relayed all the info again, and this douchey fake cop says, gives him the same number that he's been trying to call all morning. So, he goes, he's like, "I'm in the Truman Show," he says. "There's no way I'm not. I have to be in the Truman Show at this point because there's no way this would happen in real life." And I'm like, dude, I'm starting to think you're in the Truman Show because there's no way that would happen in real life. That's insane. So the poor kid goes home, fucking basically just throws his hands in the air. And I guess he chills at home for a little while. I don't know what he fucking does. And then he gets an epiphany like, oh, okay, maybe I'll drive down to the actual sheriff's and see, you know, it's maybe there's some people on different shifts or something, and maybe there's a real officer he can get a hold of. So he drives down to the actual sheriff's dispatch, does the buzzer thing again like he did at the troopers, and lo and behold, it's the same douchey chick she must work 24/7. That chick's got some good overtime pay, let me tell you what. So this douchey chick says, "Hey, I'm gonna send a real sheriff over there." And he's like, "Okay, great. Can't wait to talk to a real sheriff." So he waits another 10 minutes or so, and he's like, "You know what? They're not sending anybody, and why would they? It's a big fucking game at this point. At least that's what it seems like to me from what he's telling me." I'm like, dude, I would fucking I would have quit a long time ago. And he's like, "What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to fucking do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, anyway, go ahead." And he's like, "So, I realize, you know, they're not going to send anybody. So I pull out and start to drive home. And as I start pulling out, I see a state trooper. And I'm like, "You haven't talked to a state trooper yet, have you?" He's like, No, this is the first police officer I would be the actual. It's a real cop, I think. It's a real trooper, I think." So he's like, I pull over, I flag him down, and I turn around quick, and the trooper meets him in the sheriff's parking lot, and he gets out, and he starts telling the trooper this story. And the trooper is wide-eyed, like, holy shit. Yeah, this is very strange. Like, something is fishy. And before the kid can finish telling the story, a fake douchey sheriff shows up and kind of takes over the dialogue from the trooper. And the whole time, the trooper's kind of looking at the sheriff like he's suspicious. Kind of looking back at the kid, too. Like, it's almost like subconsciously, or there's like small telepathy going on between the trooper and this kid. Like, they both think this is weird. Anyway, the kid talks to the sheriff since it's his jurisdiction, and apparently they already started the case, so the trooper can't get involved. And he's pleading to this sheriff, "Dude, come take a look at the window. The other guy didn't look at the window. Something was fishy with the other deputy. Can you just take a look at the window real quick?" It's literally a 100-second drive down the road. It would take you 2 minutes. The sheriff vehemently says no, and says the original officer already did a thorough inspection. And the poor kid's like, "Dude, you weren't even there. How do you know?" And he's like, "Oh, I know." And so the trooper is like wide-eyed, like, what the hell is going on right now? And the poor kid looks at the trooper and is like, "Dude, something fishy is going on here." And the trooper kind of mumbles and can't do anything. And that's kind of how it ends. The kid literally pleads to the guys, he asks, "You're not going to help me? You're not going to help me out? Someone broke in. There's probably evidence on the windowsill, and you're not going to help at all. Even if there's not fingerprints, at least look at the window and take pictures or something." And they never came. So the story gets crazy. Well, not as crazy, but it gets deeper. I'll be back. Peace.